Don't bend your knees. Zheka, you're back. Don't even say that you are trained by someone else. This is Yevhen Klochok. He's a coach, the leader and founder of the fitness training gym zaWOD, Crossfit Brovary. He has no equal in the role of instructor. He's well-balanced, has a good sense of humor, and trains true athletes with his commanding voice. He trains with me in a tough regime. Sport for him is a way of life and a way to change people. He dreamed of engaging in sports since his childhood. At the age of 12 to 13, he forced himself to work and train hard. He first started with boxing and then took up sambo. In order to get into his favorite training sessions, he sometimes had to be a bit foxy. He always looked after his sister. He took her along to his training sessions and she waited for him sitting quietly on the bench. For Yevhen, championships, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat were the meaning of life. But when it came time to choose a future profession, his parents decided that sport was simply a form of entertainment. And they felt that he had to get a decent education. My parents said to me that it would be good if I earned a lot of money. They suggested that I become a lawyer because I would receive the maximum financial benefits from such a profession. The parents were right. Jurisprudence brought their sons successful transactions, big money and status. Yevhen had everything that a person in the modern world strives for. I attained a high level in my work. I was offered a lot of money, and those who have money can own just about anything. And I wanted it all. But one day everything changed. Yevhen would remember that day for the rest of his life. Children were laughing outdoors, people were going somewhere in a big rush, and the news about mobilization of soldiers to the war in the east of Ukraine was announced.
Часткову мобілізацію до Національної гвардії України і до Збройних сил.
Yevhen immediately decided without a shadow of a doubt that he was obligated to be on the front line. Initially, he went to serve as a volunteer, and then, when the special unit Harpoon was formed, he joined its ranks. I cried a bit and told him that he did not need to go there. I said, please come back. He replied, Mom, if we're going to sit on our butts, then so be it. Warriors of the Harpoon Battalion were engaged in reconnaissance behind the enemy lines and carried out anti-sabotage operations. He understood the serious nature of his choice to go to the front. Only later, he realized that neither knowledge of the law, mastering fighting skills, and everything he did before the war would not help him on the front. And then, that was the first time that he felt some sense of fear. When I was going to the ATO, it felt a great sense of fear and thought that my life was over. In a matter of moments, I could lose my conscience. Be it cold or hot, you try to keep yourself together. Your brothers in arms with beards and guns in their hands are so serious that you get scared, and they have the same sense of fear. It is in such moments that the boys want to go back home, where there are comfy offices, where you can calmly drink a cup of coffee in the morning, read the news, or seriously discuss events happening in the country. It was in the Donbass when he realized that everything he had in peaceful land no longer mattered. Here, in the war, he either be lucky or not. We were bombed from 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. You already can't do anything, no matter whether you have money or not. Indeed, no matter how professional you are, you can't do anything. This is life, this is war. This is how most atheists become believers. You had to believe not only in yourself, but also in those who stayed at home. He's here to ensure that his family would never have to see the real horrors of war. This is why he told stories that there was quiet and calm, tasty food, and it was almost like relaxing in some vacation resort. All the time when I called him, I asked, Zhenya, how are things there? It's okay, we're resting. I can hear the bullets whistling. Is that what you call resting? I could hear the sound of gunfire, and every time I called, he said he was resting. Unfortunately, there is no calm in a war. Sometimes they simply slept on the damp ground under the bombardments. But the worst thing that can happen in a war is death or losing your friend and brother in arms.
Зранку я стояв, його, осколок зайшов високо.
In the morning, I got up and saw a 20-year-old soldier who was killed. He had planned to get married to his dearly beloved in a few days, but instead he was taken home in a box we call Cargo 200.
Весілля там вже булося, і він, все, його повезли додому вже, як груз 200.
Zhenya's mother, Yevhen Klochok, said her son returned from the war a totally different man. He gave up engaging in his favorite tasks and his old habits and began perceiving things in life that were once habitual for him in a completely different way. He became tougher and more sentimental at the same time. It was as if two split personalities were fighting each other inside one person, but neither of them knew which one would overcome the struggle within. He had a shotgun and his father also had one. They were totally legal. They used to go hunting from time to time. When he returned from the ATO zone, he said, "Take away my rifle and register it in your name. I will not take it in my hands." No shots, no sound, no noise or deathly silence. Returning to a peaceful life from the ATO zone is often difficult for soldiers. The world will never be the same for a man who held a weapon in his hands. Very often, the feeling of anxiety and depression doesn't allow war-torn soldiers to return to a normal life. Everything that once seemed so close madly annoys them and is often not perceived. There were moments of despair. I wanted to change something. Yevhen didn't know how to deal with memories. Work did not bring him pleasure and he angered clients. The only thing that saved the young man at that time was sports. CrossFit became the ultimate release for him. After fighting in the ATO zone, he found his own comfort zone and realized that he would stay in it for a long time. Sport helps him in rehabilitation. Here he found a new channel of communication and a new occupation. He's totally immersed in some good emotional moments here. Yevhen remembers quite well how his friends supported him like no others. The same soldiers as he demonstrated the life after the ATO zone exists and goes on. Realizing this, he decided that it was time for him to start taking serious actions and move forward. The first on my list of action was to change my profession and image. I grew a beard and had a couple of tattoos made. He also entered a second higher education. He became a trainer in hand-to-hand combat. He decided to open his own gym in order to find a new meaning in life. Of course, it did not happen all at once. He had no money and no premises. All he had was an idea and firm belief that everything will work out. He borrowed money from close friends, and last October, the doors of the zaWOD Crossfit Brovary fitness gym was opened. I went into the sports gym holding my head high with positive emotions. It was like a new world that I entered. This is a special sports gym. There are no others like it. Veterans of the ATO zone just like Yevhen regularly go there. After all, these guys have something in common. They support one another and spend time together. Yevhen works here as a coach, a psychologist, and a friend. The fact is, he knows exactly what is important for those who returned from the war. CrossFit is a rehabilitation, but only on condition that the trainer is a man who participated in the ATO. I can go to a psychologist who was there and he understands my feelings. I don't believe in all those simple words. I know what themes are important for ATO veterans. They should be the task of a person who was there, on the ground, and not sitting in Konstantinivka. Only then it is true rehabilitation. Yevhen trains children and teenagers. His task is to prepare young people for any extreme situations in life. As CrossFit practice is meant to develop stamina, agility, which will always be useful in real life. There are free training courses which I conduct for those who want to attend them in the town of Brovary. Yevhen needed half a year to find his self-reliance and understand that life goes on. But sometimes he, like other soldiers, wakes up at night because of nightmares about the horrors of war that he personally experienced. I really don't know what helps him to not give up. It is probably the strength of his character. Like others returning from the front line, he remembers everything. it is impossible to forget, but he has learned to live in a new way. He is brave and is not afraid to face hardships and overcome obstacles. He's not afraid to fall and rise. Yevhen overcomes his post-traumatic syndrome with the help of training. He's quite confident that this is the only way veterans of war can overcome depression and once again begin living a normal civilian life. I live in pleasure, and I work in pleasure. This is the ultimate sense of freedom for me.